if you did, please let me... I do not want to talk about it anymore, honestly. The heart... I can't speak today. Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel. And today I'm going to be going over every book that I read in July. The total is 7. I feel like a lot of other booktubers get much more than 7. If it was earlier in the year, or if it was last year, I probably would have. But I stopped listening to audiobooks as much. I just got bored with them. I feel like I had just been listening to audiobooks only to get the number of books read increased. And I don't really care now. I don't think it's something that I'm striving for is to have that high number of books read anymore. I got to 53 with everything I read in July. I'm content with that. My reading goal for the year was 50. In 2024, I read 85 books, and I'm pretty sure over 20 of those were audiobooks, at least over 20. If I'm not enjoying audiobooks, then I don't think it's necessary for me to keep doing it just to get the number up. I probably would have more to show you if I was still listening to audiobooks, but it was taking me over 2 weeks to even finish them. I just noticed that I would rather be watching Gilmore Girls or YouTube videos or something else than listening to audiobooks, so I stopped. Anyways, let's get into the July reading wrap-up. The first book that I finished in July is one that we actually read together in a reading vlog, and that is One Golden Summer by Carley Fortune. This book very pleasantly surprised me. I had read Every Summer After by the same author, and that book kind of goes into this one. The male main character of Every Summer After is the brother of the male main character in One Golden Summer, and you don't need to read Every Summer After to read this one. It's just something that I wanted to do, and I really love this one. It follows Alice and Charlie. Alice is a photographer, and she goes back to this lake called Barry's Bay for the summer with her Nana. She went there for a summer years ago, and she noticed Charlie and his brother and his brother's girlfriend at the time, but she was too shy to ever go up to them or say anything. And she notices Charlie when she's there this summer, and they become friends. They become more than friends, and I said this in my other video, but the song that really accentuates this book is I'm Only Me When I'm With You by Taylor Swift. Alice just really opens up when she's with Charlie, and it's beautiful, and I highly recommend this. Before summer ends, you need to read this book. Oh, I should say my rating. My rating for this book is 5 stars. The next book that I finished in July was in another video, and that's The Lying Game by Ruth Ware. I picked this up at Target because I was intrigued. I have read, I think, 2 other books by Ruth Ware. I read In a Dark, Dark Wood, and I read 0 Days. And I think I liked both of those. I haven't read In a Dark, Dark Wood since high school, but I definitely liked it. But this one I didn't like, and I'm just gonna say that right off the bat. This follows a girl named Isa. She gets a text from her friend saying, I need you guys, and she and her group of friends go back to where they went to boarding school, and it's where her friend Kate lives still. When they were in boarding school, they had this thing called the lying game, where they would lie to people and see how well that they will go along with it, and they had some rules, like they can't lie about the other girls and they can't lie to the other girls. This is a thriller. There was a plot twist that I thought was so evident from the beginning that whenever the main character finds it out, I was like, OMG, are you stupid? Because it was so freaking obvious. My rating for this book is 2.5 stars. I do not want to talk about it anymore, honestly. Then in that same reading vlog, I bought, read, and finished Time of Your Life by Jessa Hastings. It's a drama / romance about Isolde Fanshawe and Joa Harrigan, who are 2 very well-known people in London in 1995. Joa is a member of a boy band called, I think, Fallow? I think that's what it's called. And Isolde is a supermodel. They meet each other in a bar, and they kind of start dating right away. It's just a very toxic relationship. I underlined so many things in this book, and I posted it on my YouTube shorts if you're interested in seeing a lot of my favorite quotes from here. But in terms of the actual story, I didn't like it that much. I rated this book 4 stars simply because Jessa Hastings is so good at stringing her words together that it just keeps me hooked. I love the cover of this book so much. It's just like, if you read Magnolia Parks, I want to know, please comment down below if you read that and if you read this, and let me know if you got so many parallels between these two in Magnolia and BJ, because I did, and I hated it. It just felt unoriginal. But yeah, 4 stars because I love the writing. I hope that makes sense. The next book that I ended up finishing in July is Heartstopper Volume 4 by Alice Oseman. This is the 4th book in the graphic novel series Heartstopper. It is an LGBTQ plus romance between Charlie and Nick, who are like friends to lovers. The whole series deals with mental illness, so definitely check trigger warnings before reading this. But if you want something that's very quick, you are able to finish these in one day, in 1 hour. Nonetheless, I finished this in 1 hour because it is a graphic novel and it's lovely. I loved all 4 of them that I've read thus far. I rated this 5 stars. I'm not going to go too into the details of this one because it is in a series. I do highly recommend the Heartstopper series for everyone. The next book that I finished in July is The Summer of Broken Rules by K.L. Walther. I read this on my Kindle, so I don't have a physical copy to show you, but this was a reread for me. I read this book in December of 2022, and I remember loving it so much, but just wishing that I had read it in the summer, because why are you reading a summertime book in December, Sophie? It made no sense. So this book follows Meredith. She is a recent high school graduate who is deciding where she wants to go to college. She and her family always go to the beach for summertime, and this year they're going because her cousin is getting married and she has a full extended family there for that. But Meredith has been going through a lot because her sister died recently, and she's trying to be happy again and to trust people again, and so it's a book about grief, and she ends up meeting Whit, who is the groom's stepbrother. So it's a romance between Meredith and Whit. Also, there is a game of Assassin. Assassin is a water gun game where you eliminate people one by one. So I could have a target, and then whenever I eliminate that person, I get their target, and so on and so forth. I think the game of Assassin adds quite a bit of adventure to the book that would otherwise not be included. So really liked it. I rated the book 4.5 stars. The next book that I read in July is Sandwich by Catherine Newman. This is a maybe coming of age, if you would consider just aging higher and higher coming of age, not just like young adult to adult. This book follows a girl named Rocky. She is a mother and a wife. She is hosting her family for vacation at, I think, Cape Cod. Is that where we are? Okay, yeah. Cape Cod. And she has her husband, her 2 children, her son's girlfriend, and then a little bit later into the book, her mother and father will join them too, so she feels sandwiched between them. It talks a lot about her past grievances because she went through a lot as a woman, so check trigger warnings, please. If you are a woman, if you are a mother, please check trigger warnings before reading this. I think if I had gone through something similar to Rocky in this book, I probably wouldn't have liked it as much, just because it's very detailed on the things that she had gone through. But in terms of aging and in terms of womanhood, I do think it's a great book. It's a little bittersweet. I cried at the end, and I read it all in one day because it's only 226 pages. I rated this book 4 stars. I do highly recommend, especially for summer or maybe at the beach. For women specifically, check trigger warnings, but give it a shot. Oh, I also want to say, I talked to my professor about this book, and she said that it made her feel weird about aging, so that's another review to take in if you would accept it. And then the final book that I finished in July is one that I actually just finished last night, and that is A First Time for Everything by K.L. Walther. This is the same author as The Summer of Broken Rules. This book follows Mads. She is a junior in high school trying to decide where she wants to go to college. She's a field hockey player and she's really good at it. Her brother Austin just gets engaged to his girlfriend Katie. Mads doesn't have the best relationship with Katie yet, but Katie asks Mads to be a bridesmaid and she accepts. This book goes through all the seasons. It starts with winter and then it goes all the way to the next winter. So it's not too seasonal of a book. You could read it at any time of the year and still very much enjoy it. Throughout all of the bridesmaid festivities, the other girls decide to do a little bachelorette situation to set Mads up with men to get her first kiss, her first boyfriend, and finally a date to Austin's wedding. But while they're doing all of this, Mads is in cahoots with her best friend Connor and the guy that she had a crush on in high school named Marco. She's getting back in touch with Marco, and she kind of has a crush on both Connor and Marco, trying to figure out who she finally ends up with. I rated this book 5 stars. I loved it so much, and I highly recommend it for everybody. Also, there are some callbacks to Meredith and Whit from the Summer of Broken Rules because it's in the same universe. Meredith is actually a bridesmaid in the same party, and she is in quite a bit of the book, and I love that because Meredith is such a interesting character. I love her and I love Whit so much, so that was great. So that was every single book that I read in July. Here are all of them, except for the Summer of Broken Rules. I hope that you all enjoyed this video, and if you did, please leave it a thumbs up, please subscribe to the channel, and let me know in the comments down below maybe some video ideas that you would like to see me do, long form or short form. I'm interested in both, and let me know if you have any book recommendations for me. I think that'd be fun to see if you have any recommendations based off of what you see that I like reading. So I hope to see you all in the next one, and I hope that you all have a great rest of the summer.